Welcome back to Louisville Now. I mentioned that October, the month of October, Fire Prevention Month. And when it comes to interviews, this guy is smoking hot. I mean, he is on fire. Okay, I've got to quit with this. It's Captain Donovan Sims who rejoins us. We've had a number of conversations, but
Yes, we have.
welcome back to the show.
Always good to do a show with you. Thank you
I
for having
love
me.
talking to you because, hey, the mayor mentions it a lot, and I don't say this casually. Safety is his number one
Number one.
priority.
Number
You're,
one.
of course, in charge of the safety, being a captain with the Louisville Fire Department.
Yes, yes.
So let's talk a little bit about. I know this may seem to you like, okay, this is elementary, but
Right.
there are some basics that everyone should know at their home or at work. Tell me a little bit about your knowledge. Give it to
Like
me.
you said, basic and can be redundant, but it's so like crucial that we follow like just common safety when it comes to fire safety, especially as we get into the colder months. As we've already seen, just here in Louisville the last week, weather's it's dropped. People are starting to turn on those furnaces for the first time this year, and we're getting calls for like, oh, I'm smelling smoke, I'm smelling something burning. You want to make sure you take those steps of making sure your filters are changed out, making sure your furnaces doesn't have any debris sitting at the bottom, making sure you're checking your smoke alarms, right? As we go into this winter season, check those smoke alarms. Make sure you're calling 311 if you're within Jefferson County city limits. You get your smoke detector put in by the fire department. That 10-year lithium battery, so you don't have to worry about changing those batteries and things like that throughout the year. Smoke. What do we call it? Space heaters? Like
Yes.
as we're getting into all this stuff, make sure we're using those safely, keeping that 3 foot safe area around that. We're not letting clothes and work stuff coming home from work and throwing your bags down right next to the space heater. We want to make sure we're leaving a safe space around that as you're trying to stay warm.
Yes, I tend to be one of those folks who, and I'm guilty, so I learned through you, but I go, okay, my smoke alarms are working, I'm good, my filter's changed, I'm
Right.
good.
Yeah.
But especially for folks who may have a fireplace,
Right.
there's
Yeah.
much more to think about kids
Kids.
in the house.
Yeah.
So, because of course they're not very safety conscious yet. But so tell me about maybe some tips for kids.
Uh, you know, I have two young kids myself, a 4 and a 1-year-old, so they're very active, moving around. Like I haven't even started my fireplace this year, even though I kind of want to because it's nice to have it on when you're just sitting there. But you got to be vigilant. You got to watch your kids. Keep their toys away from those areas where you're going to have a heat source, right? Because they're going to be attracted to. And they're not they don't know that's harmful until they get there, and you want to make sure that we're keeping them away from it. So that same 3 foot space, that 3 foot radius that we kind of recommend of keeping that area safe. If you're using, as you said, a fireplace, or you like to have a nice fall candle lit and things like that, like leave those areas away from your children. Like don't leave them unattended. Like, oh, I turned it on and I went over here to start cooking. Just like you wouldn't leave your food alone, don't leave your other heating sources alone as well.
I hear, is that true that number one place in a home, kitchen,
Kitchen,
that's where, well,
kitchen,
the heat, it makes
kitchen,
sense. It
kitchen.
makes sense. So let's say you have your house down pat, but you come into your work environment.
Hmm.
What should people look for and maybe make superiors aware of, their managers, and say, hey, we need to pay attention to this.
In your workspace, you do have a lot of that. Like some people like their offices cold, some like they're warm. Like they have those space heaters in their office, but they're using those power strips, right? Because you have your monitors, your TVs, you're charging your phone. You probably got your coffee mug that stays on a warmer, so it stays warm through the day. Like, and we're just plugging all those things in, and we're using these surge protectors and power things like those heavy loads. Like if you do have a space heater in your office, like make sure that's on its own. Like don't overload these circuits and things like that. Don't tuck them behind desks so you can't reach them and or get to them. Just being smart, right? Like making sure that coffee pot's turned off after you get a couple cups of coffee in the morning. Just looking at things again, knowing your exits in your building, how to get out of your workspace, like where are your
Sure.
stairs. If a fire's on one corner, how do I get out the other way? And again, code. Your building should be up to code, but like look for things that are kind of like that looks a little suspicious. And avoid it.
Residents of this area who are watching Louisville Now, we appreciate what you do and we know the danger involved. So I'm curious. So the mayor talks a lot about recruiting new police officers,
Hmm.
new fire department.
Correct.
How's it going? How's recruiting going?
Recruiting's going great. We had really exceptional numbers for our last recruiting process. Well over 1,000 applicants. We are working on making sure we get a lot of those applicants to the next step. We saw a big drop off when they started coming in and testing. We had over 1,000, but only 500 showed up for a written test, and then so many. So we're working on ways to do that. We have hopefully some big news coming in our recruiting area and recruiting offices in the next month or so. We love getting out there. I'm actually leaving here and going to U of L and doing an athletic recruiting panel there. So
All right.
a career fair panel there. So we're always out there. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call 574-3701 and ask to speak to a recruiter.
Captain Sims, you're a great ambassador. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
what
Thank
you
you
do.
so much.
All right, once again, Fire Prevention Month. Hey, listen to the man. He's wanting to keep you and your family safe. Coming up here, okay, we're going to meet a president, okay? I've got your attention. Coming up next on Louisville Now.